What's up, guys? Good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. Give Mile Svilar whatever he wants. Give him everything he wants and stop with these useless negotiations, and most importantly, stop offering him so low. This deal will not get unlocked otherwise. We need to hurry up. We need to speed up. Now, people will say he already has a contract until 2027. And I understand Roma when they say that it's not a priority. He's not running out of contract. He's still got 1 year left on his contract. We've got plenty of time to focus on this. And partially I agree, but for a player like him, who is the best goalkeeper in the league, who is the best goalkeeper that we've seen in a very long while, probably since Alisson, and who maybe even has potentials of being better than a potential Alisson one day, don't repeat the same mistakes. Give him the money. He's not asking. I could understand the hesitation if Svilar woke up a day and go, look, I'm the best goalkeeper in the league. I've saved your ass so many times. I want 20 million in my bank. If you don't pay that 20 million, I can leave. I can understand the hesitation if he was doing that. He's not doing that. He's asking a very normal salary for a player who probably deserves it more than anyone else. And if we base our salary caps on meritocracy, he's probably the one who deserves it the most. He's asking for a normal 4 million salary a year, like something like that. It's really not that dramatic. We're dramatizing the situation. And as I said in the last live stream, it's ironic because I've got nothing against Pizzilli, but it took us no hesitation to extend his contract and higher his wage from 1 million to like 2 million plus bonuses. Not even 1 million to 2 million plus bonuses. Why is it that it's taking us so much? Why is it that we're hesitating so much? And then I've got some questions. Maybe they don't want to sell him. That's my biggest fear. Maybe they're hesitating because they know that they can sell him for like 70 million euros and they want to cash in. And I'll tell you one thing. If they sell Mile Svilar, all of us need to go to Trigoria and chain our hands on the Trigoria gates. And I'm not even joking. Because if they sell our best player once again, it means that they're just there to make the profit and that there is no clear intention of building a project with a good team. So I'm not worried in a sense that I think we're going to get this done. But what worries me the most here is the hesitation. Because the hesitation of actually extending a contract to your best player should not be a hesitation unless you want to sell him. And I personally think, I think we're going to get this done because I think the pressure from the fans and, Ghisolfi, the pressure from Claudio, I think Claudio once again will be the key in this. He will have a say in this and say that, we can't allow such a thing, especially coming from such a season filled with mistakes that the ownership has made. So Claudio will definitely explain to the board that another mistake like selling Svilar could really mean the end of this ownership in terms of protests and things. So I do think we're going to get this done. I understand Roma when they said that it's not a priority. Look, they're not wrong. He's not running out of contract. He's still got 1 year left. So I can understand that they might have other priorities. I do. I can't blame them. Maybe there are other players that deserve a contract extension because their contract is running out, but he's your best player. So that's when I look at these things and go, we can't allow ourselves to lose Svilar, especially because I think goalkeepers nowadays were very complicated to find. I think with goalkeepers, number one, it's very hard to have a good goalkeeper, and number two, it's very hard to find a good goalkeeper. I think we fair play to Thiago Pinto, but I also feel like we've been very lucky with how Thiago Pinto discovered Svilar out of nowhere. He is an unbelievable goalkeeper, and if you have a goalkeeper in your team which guarantees you like 12 to 15 points by himself each season, then you can aim at bigger things. So that's something that I wanted to consider. And I want to share a few other comments on this in a second. I do want to speak about a very interesting thing actually. Because this coming season of the Italian League is going to be a very weird one because so many teams have changed or are changing managers. So I look at the situation, I look at the manager situation, and I actually think out of all the names and out of all the teams, we should be very happy with Gasperini. And you know those movies with like Sydney Sweeney and everyone around Sydney Sweeney looking at her like this? I feel like even those who don't want Gasperini and look at the current manager situation in Italy are starting to look at Gasperini like somebody would look at Sydney Sweeney. Like, kind of like, oh yes, thank God I got you. Because because so many teams have changed managers, that if you were the last one to change manager, that's exactly what's happening with Inter. Inter got absolutely done here. Not because Inzaghi's leaving, because as I said last week or a few days ago, I feel like it was, Inzaghi was deemed to leave. It was going to happen. When you lose 5-0 at Champions League final, I also feel like he had that agreement signed with Al Hilal before that final, which is a potential reasoning as to why they lost 5-0, to be honest. I think Inzaghi did them dirty in a sense that he spoke with Al Hilal and basically agreed to that deal before the Champions League final. And my biggest fear, I hope to be wrong, I don't even care, I'm not an Inter fan, but my biggest fear as an Inter fan would be that they lost that final 5-0 because, he basically had already agreed that deal. Okay? So the fact that Inter are changing manager is understandable. Because the cycle is done, they lost 5-0, you need to change. The problem is, they were the last team out of all to change manager. And in a season like this one, where everyone else changes manager apart from Napoli, the last one to change manager kind of gets the shitty one. Chievo at Inter, let's not judge a book by its cover, but, like, if I were an Inter fan, I'd be mad. He started his managerial career, I believe, like 1 year ago. And the only experience that he has is 6 months at Parma. And you're telling me that guy needs to come in and take the position of a manager who's in a constant league title race, won the league title, won the Coppa Italia, reached 2 Champions League finals. And kind of like, I analyze this situation of managers and go, are we in a favourable position? And I actually think that out of all, we could be starting the season with a handicap that other teams don't have. In a good way. In a good way. Like a positive handicap. Because we got a manager who knows the league. We got a manager who's won before. We know a manager who's valued players before. Yes, he needs to adapt. Yes, it could go very wrong. But you're getting a manager that, maybe Inter would have wanted. Or even, I feel like some teams got their good managers. I think Allegri grinds. You need to look at how many players Milan sell and how many players they're going to replace those players that they sell for. Because, if they sell Reinders, Theo Hernandez, Magnan, then you need replacements. But if Allegri gets backed, then you know me, I think Allegri grinds. Napoli, I think, at time of speaking, are the favourites. Because they've started a cycle, they're insisting with Conte, they're going to back him. So as of now, I go Inter favourites. But having brought Gasperini in and hopefully adapting to his requests means that Champions League gap, if it was very big to kind of comb, if Inzaghi would have stayed, who else? If other managers had stayed to continue the cycle going, now that so many managers have left and that new cycles are starting, we could be in an advantageous position. If you see what I mean. I'm not sure if I made myself clear enough, but I do think what I'm trying to say here is that we could have, if we didn't speed up the Gasperini deal, we could have ended up with shit in our hands. But thank God we didn't. And what I'm trying to say here also is, maybe deep down, even those of you guys who don't want Gasperini or currently looking at this situation and going, thank God we got him, because it could have gone very wrong. You know, I mean, Gasperini's better than Kivu. Hate him, don't like him, I don't care. He is, it's facts. And number two, even Patrick Vieira. I'd expected more from Inter, but that's because everyone stole managers that they wanted. Okay, so that's kind of, you know, what I think. He needs to be the highest paid goalkeeper in the league. Show the man respect. Exactly. Give him whatever he wants. He's not even asking that much. Do you see Lukumi and Raspadori rumors true? Is Raspadori your striker? You're like, yeah, I'll speak about transfer in a second. The little transfer rumors, the initial transfer rumors that we've been linked with. Simo has messy hairstyle. What do you think about it? I like changing my hairstyle. I want to grow my hair a bit. I want to grow my hair a bit and change my style. But it's very short. You know, it needs to grow. But yeah, I'm actually quite enjoying having my hair like this. Do you think the 40 million release clause will be a disadvantage for us in the future? Well, look. First of all, he needs to continue in this path. You know, there have been many examples of goalkeepers that had incredible seasons, and then all of a sudden, the following year, they were just season wonders. It's been a long while that Svilar has been like this. I'm not calling him a season wonder. But, you know, if he proves to be this efficient, but also game-changing, season in and season out, in a few years' time, he will leave. And that's just the sad truth. Because it's the philosophy of Roma. You know, if Svilar becomes the new Alisson, which I think he's got potentials in being the new Alisson because he's phenomenal. If he does become the new Alisson in terms of, you know, the way he performs, then next summer or the year after, we'll have him gone for 70 million. Okay? Look, do I think Roma is in a position in the long term to reject a 70 million bid for a goalkeeper? No. And that's why we'll sell him. You know, yes, Svilar played an unreal season, but you won't find teams that will pay 70 million for Svilar right now. Probably the max amount of money that you could find a team pay for Svilar right now is max 40 million, but max. Because he still has a lot to prove, you know, and it's normal. So I think what the goal here is, he needs to stay next season and maybe even 2 seasons. But if the man becomes the new Alisson, then there's nothing we can do. He will leave, but of course he'll leave for massive amounts of money, which is negative because we let him go. But, you know, getting a potential 80 million for Svilar is bad because we let him go. But 80 million, you can reconstruct your whole team. So, and it's kind of the Atalanta philosophy. It's one of the reasons why we got Gasperini. Now, don't look at the goalkeeper, of course. But this is exactly one of the reasons why I am convinced we got Gasperini. Because I think to clear the debts, you need somebody that comes in, spends but doesn't spend a lot, grows every player or the majority of players into beasts, and then, you know, close a cycle by selling those players for a lot of money. But that's exactly one of the reasons why we picked him, I think, because it's something that to clear our debt we will need to do. Okay, so it's sad to say, but if Svilar continues to be Svilar, then in about 2 years' time, he will leave. And I'm not saying it's right to let him go, because I'd love to keep a world-class goalkeeper, but we're not Real Madrid. We will never be able to be in a position where we can reject a 70 million bid for a goalkeeper. You know, so the day that he leaves will come. Hopefully the day that he leaves will be, you know, a lot of money, but it will inevitably come because he's world class, especially if he continues to prove himself world class, if that makes sense. It's not about salary, bro. His agents are to blame. They're asking for an extremely high fee. Yeah, hopefully that will not be a problem though. Ain't gonna lie, because agents these days are a pain in the ass. Thoughts on Kristovic from Lecce and Wood made from Stuttgart? I think both would be lethal with Gasp. Kristovic is interesting, but I would never spend 30 million for him. So if they don't lower it, you see, thing here is, it would have been great for Lecce to get relegated for exactly this reason. But then I don't know how they won that game against Lazio. If Lecce had been relegated, they would not be in a position to ask 30 million for Kristovic, and they would have probably let him go for around 10 million. He's interesting. I like his characteristics, but never would I spend the current amount of money that they ask for. Never. Who's the other guy? Oh, the German guy. Again, he's interesting, could be interesting. And I know that transfer sessions these days and transfer fees are incredibly inflated. But 40 million for somebody who, to be honest with you, I didn't even know who he was before he was linked with us. It's too much. It's too much money. Like, don't forget what happened with, don't forget Dovbyk. We spent, 35 million for Dovbyk? It's a big investment, and some fans already don't want him anymore. So, again, I'm not sure if we need the first striker. That depends solely on Gasperini. If you ask me the question, should we sell Dovbyk? Number one, I think it depends who comes in. It depends who comes in. If I need to sell Dovbyk to get Kristovic, then no. No, of course not. If I need to sell Dovbyk to get somebody good, to hire the bar, then I'd probably say yes. And then the other thing is how much money we're letting him go. If we can, making a profit is very hard, because you won't find a team which pays 40 million for Dovbyk. I mean, you could, no disrespect to him, but it's tough. If I need to sell Dovbyk without making at least a little gain, then I'd give him another season. I would. Because you don't forget that these strikers do normally explode under Gasperini. Yeah. I mean, I know I've kind of blocked him in the past. I take everything I say back, because I think I was completely wrong with him. So I take everything that I'm going to say about this next guy back. So if you remember me saying I don't want him, ignore me as if I never said it. My ideal striker would be Moise Kean. There's just something about that man. Maybe it's the songs he sings, maybe it's the gritty he hits, maybe it's the flexing. Maybe it's more than that. But I think the power that he has, I mean, somebody like Ken under Gasperini would genuinely score like 98 goals. But of course, it's a lot of money and it won't happen. But yeah, my ideal pick would be Ken. And I know I did attack him in the past, calling him a season wonder. And maybe he is a one season wonder, but I'm willing to take the risk. Because I think he's played so well this season, and he's played literally by himself in that Fiorentina team, because that Fiorentina team was bang average. And I don't think Fiorentina overperformed this season, because at the end of the day, they got the Conference League, which is their normal position. But Ken, oh my God, that guy overperformed in every game. He carried Fiorentina by himself. Your thoughts on signing Gianluca Kumi? Not a bad name. I'd have preferred Sam Belkema, but of course, more money. Not a bad name. Igor Paixão would be good. Yeah, exactly. But Igor Paixão, that player is the player we need. Look at me in the eyes right now, guys. That player is who we need. It's who we need. It's probably the player we need the most in this transfer window. A player like him. If I need to set out my transfer aims right now, we need to completely revolutionize the right flank. Not completely, because Sule and Dybala, I know, play on that side. But, behind, we need to revolutionize. We need somebody who runs. And I don't want to hear about Çelik, because people who say Çelik, again, let's give Cilic another season because he played a great 3 months. You clearly don't know what Gasperini asks for from a right back. Anyone who says keep Cilic clearly has never seen a right back play under Gasperini. If I'm supposed to believe that Cilic can become a right back that Gasperini wants in his system, literally evolving in a fucking train, moving like this, constantly 90 minutes, then I'm sorry, maybe I don't understand football and I've never seen Cilic play. Cilic can't do that. You need somebody who runs like mad, tracks back, runs forward, tracks back, runs forward, tracks back, run forwards, crosses the box well. Otherwise, the goals won't come. One of the reasons as to why Gasperini scores so much and his teams score so much is because you need people who cross the ball and run to the striker. So right back completely revolutionized because the current right backs that we have, the little right backs that we have, don't fit the system at all. You need another centre back to replace Hummels and to replace those players that left. Hermoso, I don't want to keep Hermoso, no way. Absolutely no way. Hermoso never cared. Don't bring Hermoso back. We need another centre back, somebody like Lukumi. And then the most important position, we need a midfielder, another midfielder. But the most important one is somebody like Paschal. Somebody like Paschal. Somebody like Lookman. Somebody that Gasperini can take and go, you're my new Ademola Lookman. Somebody who dribbles, somebody who shoots, and somebody who scores. Somebody who, if we play that Europa League final in Istanbul next season, steps in and plays like Lookman did in Dublin. And somebody like Paschal, somebody like, I'm dreaming, but somebody like Adeyemi from Dortmund, okay? I would even say Berardi, but Berardi's plays on the other side. We need somebody on the left side who cuts in with his right, because we have far too many players which play on the right, and cut in with their left. We've got Dybala, we've got Sule. We do have a lot of players like that. We need somebody on that left-hand side which cuts in, shoots with his right, Insigne type player. Okay? Somebody like that. Are you guys keeping Salamakers? I don't think we are, to be honest. Juventus started the process too late to catch Gasperini. Moiskin is dangerously good player. What's your thoughts about Gasperini being a Roma coach? Oh, I already did two very long live streams about that, mate. I don't want to repeat everything about the manager because it may take me too much. Who do you see top 4 next season? As of now, I'd go Napoli first. I'm going to put Roma in top 4 next season. If the situation is this, of course, you got to analyze the transfer window and everything. But I put Napoli, Roma. I put Lazio in. Yes, I do. Because I think if Sarri gets backed with 1 game a week, Sarri will cook. And then it's one between Inter and Milan. As of now, I still go Inter because the players are there and the players are good. But the manager leaves me a few questions. Do you think giving Saud a chance can be good? No. Absolutely not. Saud needs to go. Love and respect to him. Lovely bloke. Great smile. But no. Gurna was saying Gas will terminate. Yeah, Gurna Duat will become the new Yaya Toure. Laurent is good. Noah Lang from PSV is good. Yeah, somebody like that. I came late, so did you already talk about Svilar? Yeah, I did at the start. Juric will bring Atalanta back where they belong. Right, guys. That's it from me. Svilar contract hopefully soon. Gasperini announcement hopefully tomorrow. In fact, it will probably be tomorrow. He signed his contract today. And by the way, did you guys see the picture of Gasperini talking to Pellegrini and El Shaarawy at Scamacca's wedding yesterday? Pellegrini looked petrified. Pellegrini was like, I'm not going to run. Oh no, I'm not going to run. I can't be bothered, mate. If you want me to run, just sell me. He looked petrified. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, the announcement and everything will come tomorrow. Hopefully this Svilar extension announcement will come soon because we definitely deserve it and he definitely deserves it. Hit the like, 100 likes would be great. Thank you very much for 16,400 subs, road to 17k. And yeah, guys, I've got a few exams these next few days. Look at this, fucking hell. Constitutional courts and regional and local governments and constitutional review of legislation. Oh my God, I would rather die. Anyways, wish me luck and I will catch you soon. Simo, out.